Welcome back. I'm joined by the winner and finalist, Gabby Sparks. What an amazing match! Congratulations.
Thank you.
That was awesome. You showcased why that deck is powerful, what it does. I was highly impressed.
Slash Paul being pretty mana screwed. Sorry, Josh being mana screwed, but that works too.
Hey, I mean, that's magic. It's
Yeah.
why I play 2 out of 3 and it happens. But you're there. No one can take that from you. Who are you wanting to play out of the Pauls in their decks in the finals? If you could pick your matchup.
I don't know. Paul Rietzl's deck is really cool looking. I really like it, but at the same time, I've never played with it or against it, and this is my first time really kind of seeing it. I mean, like I've seen other lists like it, but I never really played against it. So I'm guessing I'll take Paul over that known enemy.
Yeah, I mean, this matchup is exciting. I think that Paul Rietzl, he says one of the reasons he played the deck is because it's favorable against most things that aren't Abzan.
Yeah.
And I think it has a lot of game against the Dragons deck. Anger of the Gods and Crux of Fate are going to be good against him coming out of the sideboard. And
Yeah,
things
for
like
sure.
Magnet Spray. He has a lot of spot removal, which is really good. But then, it's just got so many cheap, small threats. It's going to be tough to keep up, and Collected Company allowing you to have 2 instant threats, such as like Thassa and a Kiora's Follower or Harbinger of Tides. I mean, it's just a lot of pressure fast.
Yeah, there's just so much sweetness in this deck, though. I love it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's exciting to see it actually have a time to maybe shine. I mean, we don't know yet. We haven't seen it happen yet. It could just be a one and done, but it's a deck that we worked on or we looked at, but it just never really came to fruition, and it's like never really had a chance to be played because it just has some glaring holes in like a tournament where you're playing in full Swiss rounds. But in a field like this where you can kind of predict what your opponents are playing, it's a good time to bring it out. And his gambit paid off. The Abzan deck Owen lost, so he's where he wants to be. So we'll see if it plays out as he planned it. I mean,
Right, for sure. So you said you tested this game this deck for the Pro Tour a little bit.
we had looked at it. We played against it a lot, and the conclusions were mostly on the Abzan side. We're just like, man, that deck is a joke. I hope people play that deck because it doesn't really deal with things like Languish and Rhino and
Sure.
very
sure.
well. But now we'll see. I mean, he doesn't have to go against that. He gets to go against sort of a more fair deck. Not that Abzan's not fair, but a deck that doesn't have the same kind of sweepers. So
Right, and you guys probably predicting that there would be a lot of Abzan, so there's no point to really bring something like that, right?
exactly. I mean, you can always count on Abzan everywhere in any kind of standard tournament up until
Let's
this
check out
rotation.
Chion's deck.
Yeah, I mean, Chion's deck, we were looking at this from before. It played out way different, than I thought it would against Gerard. I mean, the Outpost Siege was huge. I don't think
Yeah.
necessarily the Outpost Siege is going to be as big against Rietzl's deck because this deck is so fast and so tempo-based where it's not really worried about the long-term effects of an Outpost Siege. So it's going to have to play a really different game. You're not going to be able to kind of sit back like he did against
Right,
Gerard
or
and just play-
keep all swabs and hope to get lava
Right, or
bullets.
just play one threat, make them deal with it, play another threat, make them deal with it, because even something like Hypnotic Siren, just stealing a dragon, I mean, you're going to really have to try to keep up. And then things like Harbinger of Tides, bouncing your dragon back. So it's going to be, he's going to have to play it a lot differently, but, he has the game to win, and definitely out of the sideboard, things like Anger of the Gods and Crux of Fate are really huge. I mean, Master of Waves lives through, the red removal, but then the tokens
It's still
themselves
just a
don't.
2-1, It's
Yeah,
not that
the
impressive.
tokens themselves don't, so it's not that great. But if he's able to land one and then Paul doesn't have a Bile Blight or a Hero's Downfall main deck in his hand, it is going to be trouble. He's not going to have many turns to deal with it. And he does have things like Stratus Dancer to even counter and protect.
Right. Yeah, this it's going to be a really interesting matchup. I can't say that I've ever seen anything like it before. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it's really exciting, to see the Brews show up in the Standard Super League, and it's one of the things. Like, it would have been kind of boring if everybody just showed up with, what you see all the time in Standard tournaments. There's just guys slinging back and forth, mashing the Standard decks we see at Friday Night Magic.
Yeah.
Every night. So
Yeah,
hats
I
off to
want to take Paul's deck and be like, BRB, need to build this real quick.
Yeah. So let's see how close they are to being set up. Looks like they're getting the hands set up. So let's we could also mention that Oh, here they are. I'll get back to it. I was going to mention about the Super League Championship, but we can talk about that later because we've got a sweet match here. Cheon, I'm going to refer to them by last name because everybody loves to say Paul. Cheon won the roll. we saw Rietzl's hand briefly there.
It looked pretty reasonable.
Yeah, look, it's got a 1 drop, a couple 2 drops, a 3 drop. It's got a sweet curve and all the lands it needs, two islands and a Yavimaya coast.
Does Cheon have any red? I can't really tell on the hand cam the way it works right now.
Yeah, we can only see 5 of his cards so far. Doesn't look like... Have we decided on mulligans? If he kept it, I'm going to assume those other two. Okay, here we go. Oh, yeah. So he's got a Bloodstained Mire, so he's got a Red Source, 2 Swamps, a Hangerback, a Downfall. So his hand's got some game, Draconic Roar.
We got ourselves a game of Magic here.
It's going to be a good one. Yeah, the Shore Crasher Elemental, he's got a couple answers to that right away if Paul chooses to just play it on 3, which it looks like ideally he wants to go 1, 2, 3 into Master.
Yeah, he's got a really sweet curve, and currently Paul has no way to... Oh, yeah. Here's Dawnfall answers. Master pretty cleanly.
Yeah, and Magma Spray off the top is a good one to be able to keep, So I think in this matchup, you want to keep Paul from developing the board, because the more things he gets on the board, then the harder it is for you to answer them at 1 for 1, like getting tempo-based, getting your threats bounced. So being able to just play a threat, remove it, play a threat, remove it, and kind of keep him off the board till your dragon comes down is, I believe, where you want to be. Now, I don't know if you really want to Magma Spray the Flying Man, but I think you do. Oh, he's going to draw.
Yeah. It does allow Cheon to have a following turn where you can go Hangerback Walker and have Magma Spray up, hopefully kill one more thing.
Yeah, no, it definitely allows your mana to be used better, although you do waste that extra damage being able to do 3 as opposed to being able to do 2, which you might need for something like a Shore Crasher Elemental, because it is a 3/3, correct?
Yeah.
So let's see, he leads with...
Bioblight is pretty nice. So it's a cheap interactive card that he can really put to work in this match.
Now, see, the benefit of him using his 2-mana removal spell, like as you said, he was able to kill the Harbinger and play a Hangerback Walker. So
right, it made this turn so much better.
Pretty good sequencing by Cheon here. Bioblight lines up well with the Shore Crasher also.
What would you do here if you're Paul?
I think I'd just go ahead and slam out the Shore Crasher.
Yeah, it's a little scary against... Paul plays a lot of cards that deal with the Shore Crasher pretty well. You don't have the mana. See, so I think he's a little concerned about that, not having the ability to blink it.
Yeah, so he's bringing in the Gadul Lurker, which is, once it unmorphs, is a megamorphs, 2/2 unblockable.
Yeah, so if you're Paul, you think maybe this is Stratus Dance is probably worth killing. Even if it's Gadul Lurker, it's still worth killing. You can't ever block that thing.
Yeah, and if it's Stratus Dancer, it's going to blank a removal later, so you might as well get rid of it now.
All of Paul's answers have landed up really well with this, and I think that sometimes is a problem. Like when you have like this kind of conditional removal, sometimes you don't get them to line up very well, and then you're like, oh wow, now I'm getting run over by like a 2/2. I'm gonna lose.
Oh, actually, I didn't know that. I forgot the blink ability was 1 blue.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's able to leave up the blue, so now protect his...
Yeah, that's why I think it made sense for him to run out the Gadul Lurker morph that turn, because it's so scary to, run that guy out without any mana to blink it.
Yeah, I was thinking it was more to blink, but yeah, 1 blue mana, totally, excuse me. And now it sets up perfectly for being able to play this and still leave a blue up and make 4 elementals.
Right. So now Cheon, too much Paul.
Yeah, Cheon's got this under control with the Bioblight or the Hero's Downfall. He can just downfall the Master and take out, or he can Bioblight the Master. Save the Downfall for later.
Oh, it also allows him to pump up the Hangerback, so that's really nice.
And now he just drew his 4th mana, so he can't cast either of his dragons, but he's still got Downfall plus a Hangerback activation up if he chooses to. It's going to work out really nicely for Paul, because by the time he gets 5th mana for Rietzl, by the time Cheon gets his 5th mana, Rietzl's going to have mana open for the Sulingar Sorcerer, so he can actually exploit and counter either dragon that he needs.
Right, for sure. Sulingar Sorcerer is looking really good right here. This is the same thing you were talking about earlier, how, Cheon's threats are pretty expensive, so having something like Sulingar Sorcerer looks pretty good in this spot,
Yeah, and it's really nice that he got a Hangerback out early, because without that Hangerback, this game is totally different. He's just playing reactive spell, and he's not actually getting to progress toward winning the game, but by getting that hanger back out so fast and being able to pump it, now, Paul's already at 14 from the incidental damage from the Draconic Roars, that now each of these hits is really, really a tough hit. So it looks like Paul's going to block it
and save some life, yeah.
But now Cheon can respond with Downfall if he chooses to and just get rid of it permanently.
It might be worth
it.
You just finally get rid of it. You don't have to do. Yeah, it's a very, very clean answer right here.
Yeah, he taps. He didn't blink it, block and pump, but then he's able to kill it because it's blue.
Right. And Rietzl only has 2 cards in hand, so you're not. I don't think you're that worried about what's left in there. He just really wants to draw land now. Except not that one.
It tapped. Still, I'm not sure what he can do about that Hangerback Walker, because I guess, Hypnotic Siren off the top is actually a pretty exciting answer. If he draws another, then he has 7 mana now. He can actually steal the Hangerback.
Right, he could steal it. That'd be pretty sweet. But now Paul is in town. Like, this one's gonna get countered, but the next couple aren't. And those hit pretty hard.
Land's not what we need, because here comes the Dash Dragon. No, he's 4/5. That gives all your creatures +1/+0. I can't really read it right here. Or is it 5/5 and it gives the others? He's not playing it anyways, but I'm just trying to remember if it's how it's worded.
Which card?
The Dash Dragon.
Oh, so it's a 4/5, and for each attacking dragon, all your creatures get +1/+0.
Right. So I was wondering. Yeah, I didn't know if it was 5 itself and it gave the others +1/+0.
No, it's a 4/5 and it gives +1/+0 to other dragons for each attacking dragon. So having that Thunderbreak in there is pretty relevant too.
Yeah. So that was unexciting. Also, he could have drawn a Hangerback Walker, a Harbinger, whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Those 2 words. Yeah. He could have collective companied or drawn one to bounce the Hangerback Walker. And that could have got him out of it too. The Harbinger of Tides.
And so Paul's invested a lot into that Hangerback, so the Harbinger really takes care of that, at least tempo-wise, but he's still pretty far behind. He just needs to put a clock on him. He just doesn't have anything.
So for sideboarding purposes, I think Negate itself seems nice because there's so many removal spells. If you saw how the game played out, it was just removal spell, removal spell, removal spell. So I think I'm going to want, if I'm Paul, I'm going to want Negate.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean, it's how they're planning on slowing him down. It's how all his creatures are dying, so...
I think
just negating, saving your guy, being able to hit for more seems pretty good.
You definitely want the Disdainful Strokes and the Encase in Ice, and I think you actually might want a Treasure Cruise, because if you look at how that game played out, you kind of the removal of threats. You kind of want to be able to refill the threat. So I could definitely see Treasure Cruise, Disdainful Strokes, and Encase in Ice for sure. Maybe Negates, maybe not. I don't think you want Sidisi's Faithful. I think it's more so against like a Obs on Aggro ground creature type deck with the 0/4.
Yeah, I can see that. Just like kind of like a tempo swing, get all my guys in. You don't even have that many guys. You expect, I think, a lot of your guys to be dead in this matchup.
Yeah, I don't think you want to bring those in. So let's take a look at Cheon's deck list. Now, I think here definitely you're going to want the Anger of the Gods and possibly the Crux of Fate. It is a little expensive, but it does clean up the board nicely.
Yeah, it does. It's kind of annoying against Shore Crusher Elemental. That guy's pretty good at dodging some of the stuff.
And I could definitely see, I don't think you want Duress because this deck is mostly creatures, and I don't think you want Foul Tongue Invocation when he's got things like Goodwill Lurkers and just small guys that he can sacrifice or even just tokens to the...
What do you think about Rabblemaster here?
Rabblemaster is an interesting one. I mean, it's hard for Paul to deal with, but it's still just a small creature that doesn't line up too well with the pro red of the Master of the Waves.
Right.
It's taken, although the Hypnotic Siren costs so much. I'm not certain what you would take out to fit all this because your main deck is already so good that you don't have a lot of spots to pull stuff out.
Right.
So, all right, we're back here to the hands. Paul's got
mulligan.
4 lands and 3 creatures.
Oh no, and there's no red. I mean, there's sort of red in the form of Haven and Spirit Dragon, but it's not really red.
Yeah, he's got the red to be able to play 1 red for his dragons, but he doesn't have red for any of his red removal spells.
Right.
He's going to Thoughtseize and I guess probably take one of the Harbinger of Tides, but Hypnotic Siren, if your hand is this slow, is actually kind of scary because by the time you get online, it's going to be
that thing's going to do a lot of work. Drawing Stormwrath Dragon is not what Paul wants to draw here. That's so slow. You just want early interaction.
Yeah. Ooh, Disdainful Stroke is going to allow Paul
It's a very nice one.
Protect once he has the tempo on the board, which he's going to have with this Harbinger.
And another swamp.
Another swamp.
It looks like Cheon's just going to get run over this game.
Yeah, and Kior's follower is really going to allow him to be closer to that Siren faster and give him a clock in the meantime before he gets to the 6th mana.
I really hope we get to see Siren steal something. That'd be so sweet.
Yeah, I don't think Cheon wants to see that.
It's true. You gotta go for the entertainment value.
I think in this matchup, Rietzl might find it's important to hold the Sirens and not play them like he did that game turn 1 and use them to, allow yourself to kind of steal dragons, because it's actually really hard for Cheon to deal with that.
Yeah, for sure. You also have kind of a land-heavy hand, and you have 2 Kior's followers, so getting to 7 and casting this thing with Bestow it's pretty close in the horizon.
So this is nice. That since he doesn't have a mountain or a red source in play other than a Haven, which can't cast Anger of the Gods, he's at least 2 turns away from Anger if he even has it.
Right.
So it's kind of, do you want to commit to the board and get another threat on? I think you do at this point, because you have Disdainful Stroke if he does have Crux, and you do want to kill him quickly before he's able to develop the board.
Yeah, I agree. I like committing here. I mean, it's risky, but it rewards you so much if it works out.
Well, the only issue is the land comes into play tapped, so you won't be able to have stroke mana up to stroke a 4-drop. But I don't think
I guess what you're concerned with is a Thunderbreak. If Paul draws the land off the top.
But the thing is, with 2 Kior's followers in play, if you do draw a land, you're able to just steal a Thunderbreak anyways. So you take 3 damage, but now you've got a Thunderbreak region, and he's going to have to take 3 damage to kill it. So.
And that's also not a red source.
Yeah, it looks like.
Well, now he's actually getting kind of close to that Crux. And Case is very nice.
Yeah, and Case is going to allow him to also, he's got enough answers to deal with these dragons, and he's got enough pressure on the board that pretty big trouble for Cheon here. And now Paul just goes ahead and gets the threat out because I'm trying to
This is what's really awkward about the Cheon's draw too. He's 1-for-1ing with Paul, but his answers have been currently like downfall. What was the first thing he played? I can't really see it.
Thoughtseize.
Yeah, and so he's spending 3 mana in his entire turn to kill like a 2/2.
Yeah, he's spending a card that's normally reserved for larger threats to kill kind of small.
Daggers.
So now he's going to go for the Crux and get it Disdainful Stroked.
Yep. The daggers are so real.
And then Rietzl's able to attack him to 2. And I can't think of anything. I guess he could draw the second Crux.
He could draw another Crux. He has more than... How many does he have in his 75?
2. So he has to draw his one of Crux that's left.
Oh, he could draw... No, I think that's it.
Yeah, I'm looking at his list.
I mean, maybe he could draw a removal spell for a Harbinger and then take 1 more hit from the Siren and go to 1.
Or he could draw... a Hangerback Walker would be a 2/2, so that would have to trade. Or he could eat... Yeah, the other one flies, so he could trade.
Right, so if he can block the Harbinger and then find a way to deal with that Siren, he has 1 more turn.
If he blocks the Harbinger, then it would make 1/1s that could block the Siren. But now that he's drawn a mountain, he's able to cast one of his dragons, which is just going to get encased in ice.
It's just going to get encased in ice, so this game is Paul's. Rietzl's.
This game is Paul's. So it seems like a theme here. Cheon has been missing mountains and red sources every game. Maybe the mana base needs to be reworked a little bit.
I'm telling you, that lava board needs to get printed. There you go. Little Darwin wins.
So game 3. Pretty unexciting game there. Not much really happened.
Yeah.
Hopefully game 3, they both have mana, and we get to see both decks do what they want to do.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about, like a lot of the removal just lined up really awkwardly. He didn't have very many cheap ways to interact. He didn't even have red sources to do it. The game looks very different. I think if he casts that Thunderbreak at some point, starts blocking, but it's just not, he got too little too late.
I just really want to see a Siren steal something.
I do too!
Regardless of who wins, I just want to see a Siren steal something. So yes, if Cheon wins, it's going to be the all-streamer finals. You and Cheon.
Streamer pod.
And so also the 4 of you, it's going to be you, Cheon, Rietzl, and Josh have qualified for the. Can we bring up the Super League Championship? They'll be joining the 3 qualifiers: Randy, Chris, and Eric from the Vintage Super League. We're going to have 3 qualifiers from the Modern Super League in addition to the Last Chance qualifiers. So The Super League Championship should be exciting. It's going to be, looks like 12 players itself, but we still have to get through the Modern Super League, which is also coming up, I believe, next Tuesday.
Yeah, the lineup for that looks super sweet. Yeah, there it is.
No, yeah, this is something I am super excited about. And it's funny because, like I said, the Standard Super League sort of renewed my interest in Standard. I've actually been kind of a detractor from Modern and not really liked it. But after seeing this lineup and these players, so many big names and Modern names and international names that we haven't gotten to see in the Super League yet, I am really pumped about it. And I think it might actually get me into Modern. And I might,
I was going to say, look, what a trooper, Patrick Dickman. What time is it when SSL is going on for him?
What about Lee Shetian? It's going to be a whole
that too.
Day. He'll be probably in the future. I think it's like it will be on Tuesday. It'll be Wednesday. I mean, Wednesday night. Like, who knows?
I think it's really early for them. I think it's going to be like really, really early for them.
No, yeah. So I'm really happy to see the international players get on board. And here we go. Game 3. Xian looks like his mulligan to 6. And his 6-card hand, he does have a downfall he can play on turn 3, but not much anything before that. And Rietzl's got a really fast hand with a couple of Astro Waves.
And Xian's hand doesn't have a lot of early interaction, and that's kind of the problem in this match. If you just let them play a 2-2 and not be able to answer it very quickly, they're just going to be down. And also, Paul has no mouse removal. He has no good way to clean up, Rietzl's going to curve out.
Rietzl doesn't have a third land, and if the Kiora's follower gets downfalled, he's not really going to do it because the Masters, need 4 land. He only has 2. Encase and Ice is going to be fine to kill one of the dragons, but he actually doesn't have anything he can really put out other than just a Siren for a 1/1, which is not very exciting.
But if he draws a land here, now it's dead, but it could have been another land drop. There you go.
So yeah, this comes into play tapped, and he's going to be able to keep open this Disdainful Stroke and Encase and Ice for the first Thunder Break, and he's got a Sulangar Sorcerer possibly for the second, and Qian's got a handful of downfalls for all the Master of Waves. So everything kind of lines up to where when the dust settles, there's really just a Siren in his hand. It's kind of interesting how their hands line up.
Yeah, for sure. So here you just pass on Sulangar Scorn. Probably going to counter this dragon as soon as it hits.
Yeah, he's going to Regent and get it Sulangar Sorcerer most likely. I don't see why you wouldn't Regent here unless you want to keep open a downfall, but there's no pressure on the board, so there's no reason why you would want to just start developing and getting your threats out.
Right, even Master coming down here is not really that impressive. It's 4 power, so yeah, here's the Thunderbreak.
And here goes Sulangar Sorcerer, aka Remove Soul.
Yeah, so it looks like Rietzl's in the driver's seat right here.
Not really. I mean, he does have. If you line up those downfalls with those Masters, they cancel out, and it's going to leave him with just 2 Encase and Ice, which is actually pretty great, and a Hypnotic Siren for when he brings back a dragon later.
Sure. I mean, yeah, that's true. The Haven does actually change things a little bit here. That's pretty good.
This is going to be incredible if it hits, because it allows him to play threats at the end of turn also. So then he's going to be able to get a hit in with them because he's going to play his dragon. Respond with a Coco.
Storm off the top is very nice.
Well, he actually might even hit a... He could choose to encase it, and if he Cocos, he might actually hit a Sulangar Sorcerer, and he could just counter it.
Oh, just counter it? That would be sick. Yeah, so he's going to Coco. Oh, this might be really sick.
He might choose to just encase it. I think
and
you
just
don't
keep the
mind.
Power on the board. That's true.
Yeah, but being at 22, I don't think he minds. Oh, he is going to encase it. Yeah, he's just not going to take the damage. And it gets the pip for devotion for his Master Waves out there.
Oh, that's a very fair point. Yeah.
So the more he can probably encase this one too.
He's gonna encase this too, then yeah.
Oh no, he's just gonna go ahead and Coco. Since it doesn't have haste, he doesn't take the damage, he can encase on his turn. So if he gets a 6th mana, he can encase and Master.
He also doesn't have to spend any, he doesn't have to take 3 targeting it, which is pretty nice. Shore Crusher. Oh, there it is.
He hit this. This is the ideal Collected Company. Because now he gets to counter, and he's got the Shore Crasher up with mana to blink it.
Mm-hmm.
Although the mana doesn't matter as much because he only has 1 swamp open, but in case
he could have cut. That could have been a cut.
A little awkwardness with the Harbinger because of the you don't want to bounce the
yeah. Yeah, so Master Waves makes an appearance.
Yeah.
Oh, his glorious return. Wow, that was a really good Master, setting up all those Encase and Shore Crasher first.
He's got the Bioblight, so that's going to go ahead and take out the team. But that Shore Crasher is going to do some work.
Yeah, and Paul has no good way of getting rid of this thing right now because Paul's just not going to tap out with it.
It's a weird matchup because it's so tempo based, and it seems like if Paul is able to get Rietzl's able to get an early threat and sort of kind of answer and create things that Qian has to answer and deal with his threats in an efficient manner, spending 2 mana to deal with a 5 mana threat. It's really hard for Qian to win. But if Paul gets a clunky hand that doesn't sort of develop early, then it's he can just Qian can take over, and then Paul's just playing 2/2s on turn 6 and turn 7. So it's a really kind of interesting matchup that seems like it's almost determined right away based on how the game opens as to how it's going to play out.
Definitely, and I think Paul just chooses to play the Harbinger here. It's a May ability, so he doesn't have to bounce it, but he gets a threat on the board. He puts Paul on the quicker clock.
Bring in the Rabble Master, which is not going to change much on this board. It's interesting.
Yeah, because he's just going to block here.
If Paul drew the 7th land, he could sort of Siren the Rabble Master. No, I was going to say, but then he would get Downfall. But now that the Downfall's gone, we actually might get our wish. If he does draw an untapped land source, he could choose to just take the Rabble Master, make a token, and attack with. He is tapped out, but even if a removal spell does kill the Shore Crasher, he still would have the Rabble Master, unless it's a mass removal spell like Anger of the Gods or Crux of Fate. So I don't know if he would take it, but if it is one of those mass removal spells, he would have a Hypnotic Siren left over due to the Bestow. So he does blink and block. Smart play here. Ooh, and he drew a Master.
Ooh. That's a spicy one.
If he does tap out for the Master, he doesn't have mana to unmorph the Shore Crasher.
Yeah, so he's
vulnerable.
And just keep, unmorph it and keep 1 there. And this is really awkward because he can't really do anything.
So yeah, now he's got a 4/4, which is a sizable threat. So he doesn't die to things like Draconic Roar. He's going to have to block and use removal. A lot of Downfalls already in the graveyard, I believe 3 of them.
There's like 3 of them, I think.
Yeah.
And the Vile Blight doesn't do it. I don't think Paul has any. I think the last Downfall is the only way. And Paul's just not going to tap out with it, so he can't answer it that way.
Right, and now
Pressure looks great here.
He's going to encase and get through to put him at 3. And then he can choose to possibly play another Shore Crasher if he wants, which could have 2 threats on the board, but he doesn't have to because the goblins that it makes have to attack. So he won't be able to hold back a blocker. So unless he draws a blocker, he won't be able to survive because he's going to go to 3.
Right.
Oh no, he can pump it. What am I saying?
Oh, that's right. He's got the
mana. He just pumps.
He has he has that ability. So it actually allows Qian a window to kind of fog this whole attack.
Yeah, he's able to Draconic Roar, and then he's going to blink it again. So he draws a mountain, not what he wants. He attacks Paul down to 20.
This was Paul's window to draw a removal spell and get rid of that thing, but it is now gone.
So it cost 5 to flip over, or 3?
Yeah, it's 5. It's 5 to flip over.
It's a blue and 4. So I think he just attacks here, and he's going to flip it, do 4 damage, and pass the turn, leaving open 1 blue, or no? I think I would. I think I like just having a lethal threat and having my mana open.
I mean, I can see why Paul wants to play Master Waves too. You know that Paul was down to 0 a second ago. Your morph didn't die, so he doesn't have a removal spell.
Right, but this allows, like, if you were to top deck...
Like this.
Well, I guess Anger, you still have your Master, and you can just attack for 2. And if you were to top deck Crux... I guess you do have a handful of gas to kind of reload, so it doesn't really matter.
I mean, you have another one, and then you have Hypnotic Siren, which will steal something.
Yeah,
anything relevant that Paul plays, that Qian plays.
So the Master dies. Now, it's interesting to see if Paul's going to go for it again, because now he can flip it, it becomes 4, he can pump it to do lethal, but then if Cheon has another removal spell in hand, he kind of time walks himself again. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I think you're in no jeopardy of dying anytime soon, being at 18, you might as well just go for it. So let's see if he goes for the win, or if he plays it slow, and if he does, I still think he should leave open a Shore Crasher with mana to blink, whether it's the one in hand or the one in play.
Yeah, Rietzl's at a really healthy life total, so he's just not in a rush to, you know.
So, but drawing Collected Company allowed him to pass, because even if he does draw a mass removal spell, Rietzl
right, you can just make sure you win in the next turn.
Right.
These goblins have been doing work.
And Cheon just drew a one too many land. I mean, he didn't draw. Once the game kind of got to this stage, he needed to draw some answers or threats of his own, some dragons, and unfortunately, he just kept drawing land in the stretch.
So here comes Coco, and this should be the nail in the coffin. That is more than enough.
All right, so Gabby, are you ready? You're up against Rietzl and the Coco Blue Devotion.
Yeah, I like this deck a lot, but now I don't know that I want to play against this deck.
Well, if you look at this matchup, if you notice, the problem was Paul Cheon didn't have really anything early, and you have 2-drops that can battle. You have the Soulfire Grandmaster and the Seeker of the Way, so you have blockers. So you have a little bit more game. So I think the matchup will be a little more exciting, and I'm excited to see it.
I agree with that. It seems like I just need to not get run over within the first couple of turns, and then I'm probably okay. Hopefully,
I'm going to let you get ready for the finals. Go get psyched, get pumped up. Do what you got to do to get ready to take down the Super League with no match losses. You can be 5-0. No,
that'd be pretty sweet. I will try my best.
All right, so we're going to take a little break, come back, and get ready for the finals.
Sounds good. See you, David.